Hi, my name is Theresa Chesnut, and I'm a clinical social worker, and I've specialized in treating eating disorders for over the past 25 years. Last week was Eating Disorder Awareness Week, and as I saw all the different posts about eating disorder awareness and education and prevention and that sort of thing, I found myself thinking back to 1990 when I was a senior at Kansas State University in Manhattan, Kansas, and where I hosted the very first Eating Disorder Awareness Week at Kansas State. It might have been the very first ever Eating Disorder Awareness Week, the national one, that then was sponsored, I'm pretty sure, by ANAD, Anorexia Nervosa and Associated Disorders. It's because of ANAD that I got really active in bringing eating disorder support groups to campus when I was in the middle of trying to recover from my own eating disorder. And back in the day, the way that we found out about such things were there were flyers and pamphlets in the health center that would highlight, what eating disorders were and how to start support groups. And that really started for me a strong desire for advocacy and to bring resources and education to areas where I was trying to recover. And, I was just thinking about that time and how I sat on a panel on a stage with Dr. Catherine Zerbe, who is a brilliant psychiatrist from the Menninger Clinic that's written a couple books, who later went on to be one of my amazing mentors in my career. But I sat on a panel with her and I was talking about a person being in recovery on a college campus, and she was talking about treatment and what eating disorders were all about and not about. And then I started thinking about, what's changed in the field since then and what has really stayed the same, which is a whole different discussion. But what I also found myself thinking about was it's those same reasons of lack of resources that prompted me to start the Tri-State Eating Disorder Conference 3 years ago in Evansville, Indiana. Most of my career, I was in the Midwest or in Northern California, where if I had a client come to me that was needing to find a doctor or a psychiatrist and a dietitian or a family therapist or even a different therapist other than myself that specialized in eating disorders, I would have a long list of resources of trusted colleagues that I could hand to them and say, here are other people that specialize in recovery from an eating disorder. And when I moved to Evansville, moved here to be close to my grandchildren while I was able to keep my private practice all virtual, I became really aware of the lack of resources and education, not only in Evansville, Indiana, but all of Southern Indiana and this tri-state area of Illinois and Kentucky, even into Tennessee a little bit. So that people have to really go pretty far out of the city to even get individual care. So I decided 3 years ago to start bringing education and awareness about eating disorders and treatment to this area. And so the first year we had a one-day conference that focused on just kind of general aspects of eating disorder treatment. And then 2 years ago, we had a 2-day conference in Evansville that focused on both IFS and eating disorders. And then this year, we are going to be hosting the conference again in April in about 4 weeks, and it's all going to be virtual. And the topic is going to focus on weight stigma, eating disorders, IFS, but we'll also have tracks for adolescents and things like that. So I thought this would be just a really good opportunity and time to talk about a little bit about the history of how and why the Tri-State Eating Disorder Conference came to be, and why I'm really hoping to continue to bring resources and education to this area to really be able to benefit not only clinicians and doctors that want to learn more and treat eating disorders, but also to people who are struggling with eating disorders. So that's a little bit about the history of the conference. And if you want more information about either last year's conference, that's available now, or to attend this year's conference, you can look at the link in the bio below. Thank all of the sponsors that have gotten behind this conference over the past 3 years, as well as some of the really dynamic speakers and supporters and my colleagues and friends that said yes to the very first request 3.5 years ago now. Dr. Wendy Oliver Pyatt, Amy Pershing, Shanice Turner, Aaron Flores was there the first year, is coming back again this year. And then last year, all of the folks from the IFS and eating disorder community, Dr. Schwartz and Jean Catanzaro, Marcella Cox. I'm going to miss a lot of people, but just really appreciate everybody and all of their support and helping me make this project come to life.